We also have Taishi. Is he in the house? Taishi, you here? Hey. So Taishi is a great friend from Defimans in Japan. And Defimans is also a company from the SBI Holding Group, so one of the largest financial groups in Japan. And he's also the Messari Japan lead. We also have Taylor. Who's Taylor? Taylor, can you come forward and join us here? So Taylor is the head of growth at Hemi Network. So we will have a great panel here discussing about digital asset adoption in Asia. So over to you, Emil. So before we start with this, can I just remind everyone in the back, if you can lower your voice, and we also have some space downstairs for networking. So please keep your voice low and respect everyone here on the stage. And please give a round of applause to all the panelists today. So Emil, take it away.
Thank you, Nicole. So what can you see now? It's keep broken down, and then we have to fix it. Don't you realize that it is exactly the situation now? We are doing the adoption of Web3 to the traditional finance. So it works sometimes, but it doesn't work all the time. So in such a case, when it works, we still have to do the patching. So I would like to ask the industry experts about the situation. Say here, Hong Kong as the so-called superconductor to the world, and because of the geopolitical issue, perhaps it will be easier for us to connect Hong Kong to Asia. So and we have speakers from representing different places, and we have Nicole, who always trying to connect Asia in such a case. So I would like to set the stage firstly to ask Sabrina, for Hedera. Tell me a little bit about the situation, and how we have to move on.
So I can give a quick introduction about
Hedera,
maybe for those who are not familiar. So I'm Sabrina. I do ecosystem development for Hedera, which is a layer 1 protocol. We're traditionally based out of the United States, but we have a presence globally. Myself, I'm based in Singapore, and I focus on fintech and payments adoption all in Hedera. I think we see a lot of potential in the Asian region in particular. It's home to 60% of the world population. And we've been historically in Asia for a long time, like 2018 for my colleague Alice here. And yes, there's a lot of different narratives going on. Of course, we're known as a US chain, but we do have a lot of adoption in Asia. And the way our governance is structured, we're actually not we're permissioned chain, public permissioned, and the nodes are run by governing council members, and a large number of those members are actually in Asia. So we have Nomura in Japan, we have Shinhan Bank in Korea, LG Electronics, and a number more throughout Asia Pacific. So we're fully decentralized, I would say. In this day and age, we are looking at products that roll borderlessly. Yes, in my vertical, Fintech and payments, it's a little bit more sequestrated because of regulation, but the markets within APAC are just so large that we cannot ignore that.
Interesting. So when I started, when I was young, 2017, okay, it was Bitcoin first. We used Bitcoin to buy pizza, and then we have Ethereum. So excited, Vitalik is there over there, around the corner. So rather than just a record of your ownership, we have smart contract. We have something that decentralized or get rid of the traditional banking. So for that aspect, if you move along to Japan, okay, when I was young, once again, I listened to Japanese song. I watch a Japanese movie, but those are the older generation. So the younger generation, my friends, are quite different. Can you introduce yourself a little bit, and then let us know, how can you take part, and what problem stopping us, from moving toward the total Web3 world.
Okay, so hello guys, I'm Taishi, co-founder and the CEO of the company namely Defimans. Defimans itself is focusing on Japan go-to-market to penetrate Japan market. Because as you guys may know, Japan is an isolated and unique market, especially for the higher language barriers and unique culture. Yeah, we will solve those gaps. And Defimans was fully acquired by SBI Group along last June. So we are working under SBI Group to push forward the SBI's crypto-related projects. And also I'm leading Messari Japan. So yeah, I'm also engaged in the education. And yeah, how our group solving the gap and hurdle of the Web3 is SBI is quite strong in lobbying. So we are always have an intensive conversation with JFSA and other related regulators to fix the framework of the regulations. Especially recently, with JFSA fixed the stablecoin regulations, and Japan itself is the first mover to fix the framework of license of the crypto exchange. Yeah, so we are really bullish of this entire market, and yeah, I myself, my personal vision is to increase the number of potential project users who are aiming to penetrate Japan market. Yeah, that's my brief introduction.
Thank you. So now, apart from watching movies, the Japanese movie, listen to Japanese song, now we can do business. But moving along, Japan at the moment, you are serving your own market. The license is for Japanese only. I would love to see it in the near future. So can Taylor, you can solve that problem, connecting Japan to Southeast Asia and the world. Let us know, who you are and how can you help for this aspect and more.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, my name is Taylor Click. I'm head of growth for Hemi. Hemi is a new layer 2, both a Bitcoin and Ethereum layer 2, so fully EVM compatible. We actually embedded a full Bitcoin node within the EVM, so you can write contracts on Hemi that execute on the Bitcoin mainnet, as well as reference the live state of Bitcoin mainnet blockchain. And we're set to launch here on public mainnet in 2 to 3 weeks. Building an ecosystem around 25 to 30 projects there day one, shooting for around $2 billion of TVL there at day one. We're really trying to build out the BTC-Fi ecosystem, and I'm based in New York, and most of our team is based in America as well. But something interesting is as I've been, examining the BTC-Fi ecosystem and searching for TVL, searching for new apps, I would say literally almost 90% of demand is here. The Western world has not gotten into DeFi the same way that the East has, which I think is super interesting. And in terms of how to kind of connect Japan, like you said, the rest of Asia to be more interconnected, I think that's what blockchain is supposed to do. It's a permissionless ecosystem that anyone can get involved in, anyone can take advantage of. And I think it's about building out real world use cases, allowing people to earn yield on their Bitcoin, on their Ethereum, on their stablecoins, and trying to foster a great ecosystem that can scale and continue to grow.
So getting more excited, right? So including our guests behind, getting excited about this venue and getting excited about what we just described. The problems are there. It's like what I'm doing now. I keep solving the problem. Otherwise we cannot continue. So moving along, there are a piece of news. U.S. government, they are decided or considering to issue this Bitcoin reserve. Okay. On one hand, is a reserve like gold or gasoline or whatever. On the other hand, it might be a chapter purpose for transaction or liquidity. So for that aspect, I would love to see your opinion. You might give your personal opinion, or you also can give what your company can serve that purpose. We need your more insider information for representing your own. So Sabrina first.
So I'm going to disappoint. I don't have any insider information. But yeah, strategic reserve. I mean, whether it's only Bitcoin or Bitcoin plus other like big market cap, maybe that. I think it could be seen as a tailwind for the markets. But I think the opinions are divided in that space, right? Because maybe too much concentration of ownership into Bitcoin will add an additional risk. Because at the end of the day, the governments change, and sometimes priorities change. So who knows, right? Maybe next president will not want to have Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and that could create a risk there. But I think in any case, I think it is a good sign that the new administration is engaging and acknowledging the importance of digital assets. And that the regulators are now seemingly at least engaging in a more constructive way than it was before. It was more antagonistic. So those are good. Those are good signals. That's okay.
Hopefully you are not asking me to shut up. So please, gentlemen and lady behind, I think that the participant can listen while you are, enjoying your drinks, and we have the section after 5 o'clock. Do come back after 4 o'clock. Sorry, 5 o'clock Tokyo time. So you do. You think positive, Sabrina, or there's an opportunity when the big brothers are more positive than negative, right? So optimist, like me. So Mr. Taishi-san, what's your opinion about for that aspect?
Bitcoin reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm quite positive that like government or regulators reserve the Bitcoin, because before, like around 3 to 4 years ago, nobody accepts the existence of crypto, especially like regulation and TradFi side. But recently, almost all of people are apparently admit the value accrual of Bitcoin. So it's a quite new chance to get a new types of asset class, and it's always good to increase the number of choices of the asset class, especially for like hedge funds, private banks, of course TradFi. So they can create a new service, and this means to drive innovation. That's my personal opinion.
Beautiful. So before I pass the mic to Taylor, may I express my personal opinion? I'm positive too. I'm optimistic to this. You know why? Anybody from Hong Kong local here? Okay. So do you have to get this MPF mandatory provident fund? Okay. Are you making profit or making loss over the past period of time? Loss, huh? Loss. You are smart. You are from the Big Four, of course. You have insider information, perhaps. So we all make a loss. Imagine if Hong Kong government allow our fund is a reserve kind, provident fund to invest into Bitcoin. In the past 10 years, it appreciated quite a lot. So other than using the traditional asset classes or product, to me, I think if US make a good leadership, and then the rest of us, we are forced to follow, right? So in such a case, I hope the bill will pass and something will do. So Mr. Taylor, let us know your insider information, please.
Not really any inside information. Unfortunately, I don't have like a direct line to Trump yet. But I think strategic reserve will definitely happen in America. I think it's just like a matter of time. I don't think it's an if. And once the U.S. announces a strategic reserve in Bitcoin, all other countries are going to start to follow. Which is really interesting for like a price action on BTC. And I really do believe it's going to be a race to accumulate BTC. I think that we're starting to see it now within DeFi, like the amount of Bitcoin is entering the ecosystem. The cost of liquidity on BTC is actually, I would say, going significantly down, like compared to what it was even just 4 months ago, which in theory shows people that are bullish. Like if you require less APY to hold an asset, in theory you're more willing to have that principal, the price action risk. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before every country starts having strategic Bitcoin reserve. And as I mentioned earlier, like I think all the demand in BTC5 right now is like Asia based. So the US and the rest of the world is not like a small player. Like we have some of the most capital of any country like in the world. So once the Western world starts entering the Bitcoin space and BTC5 space, I think it's just up only type markets.
Beautiful. So the positive. So I'm more than positive because if we are not moving along, I believe that that regime or that country will be lagging behind. So moving on. Now we have Bitcoin Reserve, and also particularly in Hong Kong, I think when you are going inside the conventional center, you will heard of a lot of discussion about real-world assets. So now Bitcoin is a digital asset that that represented nothing but only computer power or energy. Then we have Ethereum. Okay, that's a service. I think it's a utility, and then the utility can help us to issue new coins or whatever. On the Aereve, we can tokenize properties. We can tokenize gold jewelries. It will be a different picture. So the reserve, if it takes a decade for the US government to accept the BTC reserve, we might be able to convince them to transform the traditional asset classes into digital asset classes, as long as we find a way to make the connection between the property to the ownership usability, right? So that I set the stage. I would love to see, particularly for your projects, how can we help? How can we facilitate, such a move for the general usage of RWA?
Thanks. So I guess I can provide the layer 1 perspective, because we want to provide all the building blocks to bring RWAs on chain. So it's work that we've started several years ago. Actually, I mean we added EVM compatibility to our chain so that we have more programmability. That was about 3 years ago, and we realized that was not enough. We have token issuance framework for fungible and non-fungibles, EVM, and then that was like, okay, that just kind of put us on par with the other chains, but then we realized that we were kind of reinventing the wheel with all the different RWA projects, each of them wanting to build their own platform. So we, over the past couple of years, we issued 2 open source toolkits. One is the Stablecoin Studio for the issuance and management of stablecoins, including things like proof of reserve that you can link to it. And then the second one that we launched last year in September is the Asset Tokenization Studio, which is it's an evolved version of an ERC 1400 with additional corporate actions on-chain and assets defined on-chain, and also a regulatory framework defined on-chain, so that we have like as close as possible a digital twin because like you have that gap between the real world and the on-chain representation, and so we try to do our best to reduce the friction there, so that you can have a very accurate representation of the off-chain asset. So yeah, for us it's really providing all these blocks, and also providing support of existing asset tokenization frameworks. So there's multiple ways to do things, whether you want to own your stack and start from scratch, or use open source platform, or use a proprietary platform. We see a lot of adoption in the Aereve space for the past maybe year and a half, 2 years, and adding access to asset classes that may be out of reach for certain people. Like now you can buy tokenized whiskey on Hedera, you can buy diamonds. I mean, you could always buy diamonds, but not in a way that's tradable and liquid, and now you can. And also maybe more vanilla products like money markets, but now they can be put to use in better ways. Like they can be used to collateralize loans. And so if you're retail investors now, they have more options. So I think this is one of the key evolutions of putting more assets on chain, is like you're giving people more options. They can do this sometimes in a self-custodial way, in a very free way. Yeah, thank you.
You know what? How many people have been to the main stage of consensus today? How long you queue up for the badges? For how long? I was there, and we queue up for 2 hours. So the badges or the ticket, is it a real-world asset? Your entry rights to the event. So it seems that we talk and we talk, but for consensus or context, I think they have to consider to use a Hedera, as the ticket system, so that we put everything on chain. So if we have a digital ID, you will not be allowed to transfer the badges. Or yes or no, maybe they intentionally want it to be transferable. So in such a case, I want you to understand more about what we can do with the open system, with the layer 1 infrastructure. Is only limited by our creativity. Okay, so moving along, say for HBAR Hong Kong, you are representing Hong Kong now. Say from that point, how can you serve Hong Kong, particularly for this real-world asset issuance?
Yeah, so I personally think Hong Kong has lots of chance to enter Japanese market as a RWA tokenization, because fortunately or unfortunately, Japanese RWA markets are still having a lot of rooms to improve. Because the issuer of RWA tokenization is almost all are the real estate investment trust, and this means no other players couldn't or haven't experienced to issue the tokenized assets. Yeah, and in addition to that, I personally think that other content or several players are aiming to issue the security tokens or tokenized assets. However, almost all players are using private chain, not public chain. So the next step is to issue tokenized assets of public chain in the permissionless spaces, and if there's one showcase is achieved, then there's a bunch of potentials to bring a lot of assets from Japan to Hong Kong and vice versa.
Yeah, cross-border is an issue because there are two different regimes. And it works here, it doesn't mean that it works there. But if we tokenize the asset, they will be much higher. The transparency will be, increased. Then the trust between two countries can be higher. So I think, that there are opportunities, and then we have to reconnect. I want to listen once again, more Japanese song, and not only what's the name in English, the new video. Made in China. So imagine if we have the real world asset, I want to watch that kind of movie. I chip in and buy this movie coin on Hedera network. Okay, then I have to write. I'm the owner of that or the licensee of that movie. So when that movie become very popular, so not only I spend money, I collect money from the crowd. So the connecting Japan with Hong Kong. Hong Kong is quite small. Japan is much larger. So there will create opportunities and value, like what we did in the past. Okay, so it's just we learn from the previous successful story, then come more often to Hong Kong, and I will place my visit to Japan very soon. So, Mr. Taylor, so talking about this real world asset, tell us more about what can we do, how can we move along alongside the infrastructure, alongside the connectivity.
Yes. So I actually have like a little bit of a different take on like the RWA space. Like I think that probably like 99% of RWA and tokenization is just like a solution to a problem that doesn't really exist. Like she mentioned that you could buy like a tokenized whiskey fund on Hedera. Like I could go buy whiskey at any liquor store in the world. Like tokenization of diamonds. Like okay. But like there's like the value of a diamond is holding the diamond and having the diamond be able to look at it. So like I tokenized gold, palladium, and platinum for like 3 years, and like ultimately like gold is a very easy asset to access. Like you mentioned the idea of tokenizing real estate. Like do people really want to buy like a a share of a single family home in the middle of America? Like I don't really think that that's that attractive. I think that the RWA space, the fit for the RWA space is sourcing off-chain yield and bringing that on-chain. I think like the best example of a successful RWA project is Athena. Like you deposit USDC, USDT into Athena, they bring it off-chain, do fundamental arbitrage, generate yield, bring that back on-chain. But like the idea of like tokenizing real estate, the idea of tokenizing art, like it's not like revolutionary. It's like people talk about RWAs and say, oh, we need more regulatory clarity. Like there is regulatory clarity. It's like very standardized how to tokenize an asset in America. The licenses you need, the legal opinions you need. Like they're all securities, right? So you have to file as a security. You raise it as like a Reg D. You do it through a broker dealer. You list it on a securities exchange. Like there just isn't demand for like most RWA type projects. But I think bringing like off-chain yields on-chain is interesting. Being able to collateralize some of these assets and borrow against them is interesting. But like again, how could you do liquidations if I'm tokenizing a piece of art and then borrowing stablecoins at 80% LTV? Like how could you do liquidations on that piece of art? Like I think RWAs has good use cases, but I think it's about like bringing the yield on-chain. Because like ultimately we all do want to build something that works for the long term and like helps make the world a better place. But like 95% of people enter crypto because they want to make money. Like people trade meme coins because they want to make money. People buy Bitcoin because they want to make money. So it's about like finding the right RWA use cases, and I think that is like just sourcing yields off chain and bringing it on chain. Like I think a cool use case for RWAs would be like tokenizing pre-IPO companies. Like if I could buy shares of SpaceX, of Discord, Epic Games, like that'd be pretty cool. But like again, there's a regulatory framework for that. You just open an SPV, you buy the shares, and put them in SPV. You tokenize SPV, and 9 times out of 10, the company will refuse it, and it won't work. So it's about finding the right use case. I think there's been a lot of talk about tokenization, and it's been a narrative now for like 6 years. But is it needed? Like, is there any benefit to it? I could buy on-chain treasury bills and yield 4%, or I could buy Athena's USDE and yield 10+%. So we'll see.
Thank you. Yeah, please. Well, I'm asking you a question. So